In the last lesson, we talked about features, and then we talked about elevating those features into experiences, not just saying what something does for someone, but showing it. And rather than continue to talk about that, we're actually going to dive into a couple side-by-side comparisons so we can start to understand how this looks played out in a brand. All right, our first brand comparison, we have Yeti versus Rctic coolers. So I have it pulled up here already. So when you land on Yeti right now, this is what you see. And okay, that is gonna get old fast. So we're gonna roll back sleeves so we're not clinking buttons on my computer. Okay, so when you land on this page, even their sign up for email box here has a cool old Defender and a surfboard on top and the cooler right here and a guy walking down the hood, and it's got feel. Like, I want to be the person at the beach doing that. But maybe that's just because it's cold outside right now. Okay. So Yeti is a newer brand in some of this outdoor world, and a large reason that they've been able to grow, I think, is that they've done experience really well. They've invited you in, they've shown you how they not just make high quality products, but how those products are really going to add to the types of experiences you already want to have in your life. Okay, so let's go to shop here. And let's go look at some of their hard coolers, because that's the thing we're going to be comparing today. And so when you land on the hard cooler page, they have kind of a landing page. They have this video going behind. They're showing people outside, fly fishing, the back of a truck. Oh, I saw a little bit of a puppy there. I'm excited. Oh, another puppy. So legendary toughness, ice for days. And they have a little bit of a feature here, like time-tested toughness, cold holding power. They're built to keep ice for days and live on for decades. So we have a concept of quality. It's going to perform over days, and we have quality over time. It's going to last for a long time, but they're not specific. It's not, this many days at this temperature, some of the really specific features. For a few, for the crew, for rolling up, for the pros, compare. Let's just go to like a classic 45. This lavender is kind of lovely. Limited edition. They're showing me pictures. So this part right here is actually going to be quite similar. They're giving me add-ons, how to get the most out of it, including bear-proof locks. That's really fun. Here we go. Tundra 45 overview. A solid all-purpose size. Holds overnight camp provisions for 4 or drinks for a day on the water. So they're giving me different ways I can use this. They're inviting me in based on what I'm looking for. And all of these photos here, like that, you don't have to be an outdoors person. That's a fun backyard barbecue. The boat is lovely. A bottle of wine. So they're really trying to invite people in with a lot of different ways that you might live with this. They have some questions here. And then after all of that, we get to some features. Okay, we have weight, size, but not a lot. Okay, now let's head over to Rctic. So Rctic's value proposition is that the quality's there and it's more affordable. They're a better price point. So here, let's see, this is a very similar product. Even similar photos here. A couple features. Okay, that's how someone might live with it. This guy here is sitting on it. So they're bringing in some levels of experience here. It's on sale. Oh, no, it's 27 off versus the competition. So that's part of theirs right there. That's part of their value proposition. And then we could jump straight into dimensions on this one, which is interesting because if you remember from the Yeti just a second ago, we scrolled. We had, how are we going to live with this? Oh, you can do camp provisions. You can do a day on the water with your friends. Let's look at some photos. They had some questions, and then we got to these dimensions. Oh, and they get to it down here a little bit. That's pretty good. Got some hummus, some Topo Chico. And this is where it becomes really, really personal. All right, here's the Yeti Instagram. What do you like? What are you gravitating toward? Ask yourself why you're gravitating toward one over the other. All right, here's Yeti's Instagram right now. This guy's pretty bundled up. Here we are clearly at a cabin. You can see logs in the back. It's snowing. They've got the bag there. 1,700 likes on that one. That's pretty good. Rolling. That one's even really kind of casual. We've got someone in a puffer, someone walking a puppy. So we've got an interesting mix of lifestyle and really active here. But they're showing people how you might live with it. Now let's go to Arctic. Okay, there's a like kind of drink recipe. This one's on season. We've got snow here. I'm guessing this one's a Mardi Gras. And then this one really stands out. It's this like high production photo compared to some of these others. So it really is about understanding what you gravitate toward and why, and then understanding how you're going to start to create that for your own brand. And for me, I like Yeti's experience here. I like, the cabin and the crackling fire. It feels really on season. It feels like they have a stronger connection to who they're serving. But that could just be because Arctic is competing on price, and that's enough. That's why people buy. All right, let's move on to Apple versus a brand new product, which makes it interesting because Apple's been around. And then we have this brand new product, Rabbit. All right, Apple. So we're going to look at the iPhone here, not everything on their site. So right now they have a guided tour. We have someone holding both phones. Which one are you going to choose? That's useful. Which iPhone is right for you? 4 options, very features based. How big, how much memory, what are the options? What are the cameras? But it's set up as a comparison. It's set up for helping you find the product that's going to enrich your life and meet your needs. Okay, ways to save, trade-in, carrier deals, the Apple Card, why Apple is the best place to buy iPhone. And this is where it gets really interesting. Okay, now we have featured accessories. So it's helping navigate me to the right iPhone for me. And this is all about how am I going to live with it? And this is not just the features of the phone, but all the little extras that make iPhone a really compelling option. So we have MagSafe. All these accessories are easier. AirTag integrated. It's easy, runs on the entire Apple platform. Headphones, things are built to interact well together. And then they have more tactical help for getting an iPhone to you. Like, do you need it delivered? How do you want to pay? Do you have questions? Then they're showing me all of these pieces, right? So like this is messages and how we're making messages great. This is how you can customize with your own photo. They're thinking through how you're going to live with it. Okay, now let's go over to Rabbit, which is brand new, which makes it interesting. So if you don't know anything about this, let's scroll through the page and see if you can A, know what it is, and B, gauge how compelled you feel to buy. So the first thing they tell us is that it's $1.99, no subscription required. Your pocket companion. A personalized operating system through a natural language interface. Do you know what that means? Push to talk button. Like a walkie-talkie? Okay. Far field mic. 360-degree rotational eye. And I'm not laughing at the product. I'm just laughing at the fact that my partner's first flip phone 20 years ago had a camera that flipped back and forth. That's funny that that's back. Analog scroll wheel, USB-C plus SIM card slot. Whoo, baby. Specs. Features galore right here. And I think the question at this point is really, do you have any idea after scrolling through this about how you're going to live with this product? Do you understand why push to talk or a rotating camera or a far field mic are needed? How are you going to use that feature? How is it going to change your experience above and beyond what you have now? All right, let's go to the YouTube for Apple. And this is literally almost an unfair comparison because Apple is a very wealthy established brand. They have the funds to put in this, and Rabbit's new, but I still think that it's interesting to look at how Rabbit's launch could be a little bit richer and maybe more impactful with some of these things that Apple does. Okay, so Apple's doing a lot of these all right here. These first iPhone 15, they're all about how you live with it. So this one I've seen, it's the new driver. That one's really cute. It's a dad who watches his daughter like plow bushes and trash cans backing out of the driveway and is super nervous until he gets an automatic check-in. She made it safe to school. That's a feature. That's how you're going to live with this product. That's how it makes your life better. This next one, Miss You, if you've been watching football, this one's all over right now. It's battery life. It's not like a feature of the phone. They're not talking about specific specs on the battery life. They're showing you what a long battery life can do for you. And we go all the way down. Yep, they have shot on iPhone. I mean, they've got a dog with a bionic leg. I mean, that's great content. Olivia Rodrigo, the dog has almost as many views as Olivia's video there. They have some original short films around their content. So they're doing a lot on content, which shows us how we live with an iPhone specifically. And here's Rabbit. And again, they're new. But let's think back to when Apple launched the iPod. And they had iTunes and it was new. And they released this device, this little brick, and it was completely new. Nobody really had anything like this. And what did they say about that? They said 1,000 songs in your pocket. That's compelling. From someone who had a travel CD player with 12 songs, 1,000 songs and something a fraction of the size. That's really cool. I wanted that. And think about the features version of that. The features version would have just said 4 gigs of songs. But what is 4 gigs of songs? How is that any different? You're painting a picture versus just telling. And all that Rabbit has on their YouTube right now is 9 days until the Pixels reveal, 3 weeks ago. Introducing R1 2 weeks ago, and then the Rabbit R1 no subscription. And what I would like to see more of here as far as execution of brand strategy is, again, how am I living with this? Take each of those features and tell me why that's going to make my life better. How am I going to live with that? Why is that push to talk button something I really need? And it'll be really interesting to see how they grow and maybe how they do build into more experiences as they get a little bit bigger. So that's a brand to keep your eye on, just as an interesting case study. All right, and our final brand comparison are some outdoor brands. We have Snow Peak, which is a Japanese camping company of really high quality boutique outdoor experiences. And then we have Kodiak Canvas Tents, which is a really classic, old, quality, rugged, large canvas tent company. All right, so let's just take in Snow Peak. Look at this first photo here. It looks like they're winter camping because they're bundled, but they're in the desert. They've got a shade here, a big, beautiful tent, a crackling little fire. That's pretty good. Okay. Layers for every season. They've got an apparel deal right now. And for comparison's sake, here's kind of their campsite. Drinkware, fire pits, cookware, tents and shelters, tableware, furniture. They have a lot of things, but because Kodiak is tents, we're going to just go and look at tents here. First photo we get, Joshua Tree. 3 tents set up. I love Joshua Tree, so that's a great first. A great first photo. That's a really beautiful aesthetic. It's drawing me in. All right, let's pick. I'm just going to pick a random one. Vault and Ivory. And let's see what we have here. They're showing a couple classic photos and then again, a lifestyle photo here. Pairs well with how can you make your camp better? Then we get down to some specs and features about what it's made of, what is the sizing, how to take care of it. Now let's go to Kodiak tents. That's pretty good. That's on season. It's winter. Shop cabin lodge tents. It's perfectly fine, but it just feels a little bit different. We don't have any of those aesthetic photos to ground us in experience when we first land on this page, like we did over at Snow Peak. Let's just take this first one they're showing us here. 12 by 12 cabin lodge. You can zoom. Okay, there's one set up somewhere. Features here. Lots of features. Okay, we've got dimensions. We've got obviously like chimney, flap. You can add on. That is a lot of words. So this one is very heavy in a 360 view. That's useful. But it is very heavy in features, and they're not giving us a lot of how am I going to live with this brand? So let's pop over to their social media here. All right, here's Snow Peak's Instagram. You know what? I'm going to do Kodiak's first. Here's Kodiak's Instagram. The photos they're fine. They're probably appealing to a very specific demographic here. There's not a lot of consistency. I'm certain that these are cell phone photos, probably pulled from just user photos. Let's see, how are we doing? 52, 95. They're not specifically on season either. There's a little bit of like, it's a picnic. Okay, well, there's a one with a cat. That's pretty great. The dead animal next to it, not so much, but the cat's cute. That's good content. So they're just not giving me a ton to grab onto here. Like this could legitimately be someone's just personal Instagram of like, oh, I'm going hunting this time of year. There's really nothing to tell me without the name at the top that this is in fact a brand. And then let's go over to Snow Peak. I mean, they're Japanese. We've got this aesthetic. We've got a crackling campfire. Okay, here's snow. Here's snow. So they're on season. This is really focused on how you're living outside. This is how you can create a comfy camp this time of year. It's on season content. They're hiking. I am still inclined to think that's like a Pacific Northwest winter because I see puffers. Oh, they've got using one of their fuel canisters to make a light. This one has a lot of aesthetic. And I think that as we've discussed experiences, there's a possibility that you could be a little bit cynical and think that showing experiences is just creating an aspirational image that's not really achievable and using that to get people to buy. But I really don't feel like that's what's happening here, especially with Snow Peak. I think that it's really valuable if they genuinely believe that what they're offering can help someone live a richer life. And by that I mean, if you can take their cookware outside and make dinner while you watch the sunset, instead of be home on your devices, probably on programs that on apps that are maybe not so good for your mental health, you can see how creating this image and inviting people to do more of this in their own life is really positive and really powerful. And I think that if you genuinely believe in what you're doing and the value that you're bringing to people, that by showing these experience images, you are inviting people to create it for themselves. And sometimes we struggle to see that for ourselves. And it's a blessing to have someone show us, what's possible, to create a guide map. And now I can go out and have a lovely, beautiful experience, drink a cup of wonderful coffee while sitting in the snow. I can do that for myself, and I can do that because this brand planted a seed about what's possible. And that's really the best iteration of a brand. That's living a brand strategy, is inviting people in, helping them make their own lives richer and better and more enjoyable. And that's the power of brand strategy when you know it about yourself and start to bring it to life in your photos and videos. A really good gauge about how well you're doing bringing your brand to life is to sometimes go look at the reviews for products. So something really interesting on Snow Peak is if you go look at the reviews for specific products, often those reviews have photos that really mimic what this looks like. Like they've gone out and done it for themselves, and they're showing a photo as part of their review for this product. And I think that that really shows that the brand is inviting people in, and it's going so far as people creating it for themselves because this visual aesthetic is so powerful. So as a quick little bonus here, let's do Kodiak tents. Let's go back to Kodiak here. And just imagine they have this brand strategy in place. How are they going to start elevating from features into experiences? And if you remember on this page, we have detailed photos out of 6 photos they have. 2 of them are about this chimney flap. And it shows it closed and it shows it opened. So the chimney flap is a feature. And what I would love to see is not just, here's the chimney, here's the flap closed, here's the flap opened, but what does that chimney do for me? Well, in a case of a tent, the chimney means I can have a wood-burning stove in my tent and exhaust the fumes. That means even though it's really cold outside, I have this cozy little canvas cabin that I can set up anywhere. And you could imagine this in terms of content with a family that sets one up in the backcountry and there's snow and they're packing in and they're all bundled up and they walk in and they start to, pull the beanie off the little kid and his wet mittens and they set them near the fire to dry and they're so warm and toasty in this beautiful canvas heritage tent. And that's really what this chimney does for you. But they're not showing me that. They're not giving me that mental image and planting that seed so I can go out and create that experience for myself. Let's just say that you're in the market for a tent. You start doing some research, you look at some reviews, you hop on Reddit, what do people recommend? Let's say that you have it down to 2 brands. You have it down to Kodiak and you have it down to Snow Peak. Studies show that people don't buy right away. They want to interact and think about things for a little bit of time. Which brand is making you like, okay, if I sign up for emails, what content am I going to get? What photos and videos? What images are starting to stick in my head? And I think that in the case of Snow Peak, the image that's sticking in my head is this first aesthetic when I land on tents. Like, that's what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to go to a national park and be present in nature. And they're inviting me into that story. So as I'm getting emails and making my decision, and one just shows a tent and the other shows this, me like beautiful food in a beautiful place, and it starts to carve out this space where there really isn't competition. Because it's not one or the other. It's the fact that I'm invited into one and I'm just drawn to them. It's not like I'm making a comparison list. I'm naturally turning to Snow Peak. I'm turning to them for inspiration. I'm turning to them for products. And I'm turning to them for ongoing experiences. Like, help me create experiences, not just on this trip, but as I go. Campsite living. Even how they call their products on here. So they have campsite living is a heading. And that's great. That's already telling me something. It's not just campsite existing, which camping can feel like, but it's rich and interesting and beautiful. Let's go for some cooking here. So they're always setting these product pages with an aesthetic image of how you're living with it. I mean, look at this image here. Look at these here. Okay. What other outdoor brand is showing you images like this? I mean, we've got fresh limes and people around a fire here. People making cocktails outside. This is beautiful. This is how I'm living with it. This is the experience I ultimately want. And that's the interesting distinction, is I think this is what I actually want. What I want is not a tent or outdoor cookware. What I want is to sit outside and have a beautiful experience with people I care about in a space that's meaningful. And this brand, these products are things that help me do that. And it's not about wanting a tent, it's about wanting what that tent is going to do for me.